Hi guys, this is Tracy Newman from the Navigators Tarot, here for a Divine Masculine reading. And we'll see what the energies hold for this week. The feminine has been going through amazing healings and clearings, and now she's in a space of love, light and all that. So it's going to be interesting to see where the masculine is at the moment. So when I talk about the masculine energies, I am talking about the masculine energies that reside within each and every single one of us. If you would like to actually project this onto somebody who has those divine masculine traits, more so than the divine feminine, be my guest. However, these are a recognition of the masculine within all of us. So anyway, so the first card that we get for the masculine is Union. Really interesting card, because what I'm seeing is that everything that has happened in the masculine's life just recently and over the last few years has been because there's been some very, very slight recognition that there is no balance in his life and has been no balance in his life. So there hasn't actually been any balance between the divine masculine and divine feminine, especially in the masculine's life. I mean, we live in a patriarchal society which is extremely toxic and has been very toxic, and the masculine has been manipulated and programmed and used beyond measure to do everything they can to subjugate the feminine, and so his own feminine within himself. And these are the masculines that hold a lot of this energy. But at the moment, the masculines are really beginning to see that sorry, there's a truck out there and I have no idea, it's not for me, sorry. Yeah, and so he's really beginning to see the that over the many centuries there has been a subjugation of the feminine, a total annihilation and destruction of the feminine over the many centuries, and he's beginning to see that there hasn't been no balance, and he has also had to suffer the shame of being used in this way to subjugate the feminine. But he has also subjugated his own feminine, so there has been no balance within. So anyone that houses these particular energies will understand that the masculine traditionally and culturally has always been about not showing feelings and getting very, very caught up in the mental structure. And so, because feelings actually, they've always been told to also not feel, subjugate their own feelings, and not honor them. And so also too, but they've also been taught that the feminine within, the nurturing, loving energies, were not something that they needed to really look at, and so they subjugated their own feminine. And that has been culturally and traditionally and historically, that has happened over the many centuries. So now they're beginning to see that the subjugation of the feminine in the outer world has actually been because of the programming that has occurred and within himself, and this subjugation and the annihilation of his own feminine. So now he's beginning to see that the toxic masculine that has culturally been in some sort of control in his outer world, he's also recognizes that control of that is also been happening in his own life. So now he is actually beginning to see that there is an imbalance within, and so he is seeking union, so with the divine feminine, but it is with his own divine feminine within him. Now, I've talked to a lot of feminines over the last few months, and a lot of them have actually said, divine feminines, So a lot of divine feminines, and they have actually said that they've been getting a lot of men attracted to them for all different sorts of reasons. And I would actually also have to say that that has also occurred in my life. But what I've recognized with a lot of these masculines is that they see the divine feminine as this wonderful shining light, not recognizing that he is missing his own divine feminine. And so they feel like that they are missing the divine feminine. And so they, are very attracted to someone who houses those divine energies and in the feminine, but not recognizing that they actually have it in their own, within themselves. And what they're missing is their own divine feminine within, that has been subjugated over the years. But now he is starting to recognize this and starting to see that balance between those two energies is very important for the next stage of this evolutionary journey that we're all on. So he's really beginning to see these are new beginnings in love. So he's starting to actually see that to access those divine feminine energies within himself, he first must begin to see to honor his feelings and to get out of his head and come down into his body, start to feel his body, get very, very physically involved in feeling his feelings and allowing the expression of those. So this begins a self-love type of experience for the masculine, which is very much needed at this point in time, because the masculine is needing so very much to hold his divine feminine. And look, it may be that he has a projected divine feminine that he sees as that he misses and that he wishes to hold. But first he must recognize that he must be able to do this within himself and start to recognize and feel his own divine feminine and give her the amount of love that he wishes to give to others. But also to give himself and to balance out those energies. And the balancing out of that, of course, always means that he must honor his own feelings. He must become sovereign unto himself. And also leave the thoughts and beliefs of others to someone else to deal with, because they are not his thoughts or his feelings. He, even though he wanted to take them on board because he felt that without others, people's, it's sort of like, it's other people's opinions really that he really, really wanted, and that's what he held on to, not recognizing. But that is because that would always get him into confusion, though, because he was not honoring his own feelings. He didn't actually have access to his own feelings, and so believed that other people had the answers for him. Because of that, he never ever went down to find and access his own thoughts and feelings about who he was and about the truth of who he was. So now he's beginning to see that if he wants balance in his life, then he must at one point actually have to go in and find his divine feminine and honor the thoughts and the feelings that are coming up about the divine feminine, honor his own divine feminine, his own, nurture himself, give love to himself, and just push away anything that does not serve him, any thoughts, feelings or opinions of others. He needs to now recognize that they are not his own, and he must then go within and find his own sovereignty within. And once again, honoring his own emotions. So this is exactly where he is at this point in time. He's starting to get a sense of the fact that he's also quite heavily bound to the 3D. In the past, it's been very, very predominant in his life. Materialism has been a very, very, a big thing in his life. but now he's beginning to see that that is just a chain that chains and binds him to an old structure that is now falling and needs to fall, because that is not where any of us are going. We are moving onto higher ground, and we are moving into a more loving energies and more loving space. So I'll just get some cards from the sacred spirit reading cards. It's been a bit of a difficult one, the masculine today. It's kind of like, what are these words coming at me? I'm not really, but yes, I really believe that they are really beginning to access their feeling center, which is amazing. So I'll just have a card for where is the divine masculine at right now. Okay, so we have the energy signature. The past is in the present. Okay, so the energy signature in the masculine now, he has to honor that, his own energy signature. On an individual level and also on a cultural level, everything is changing right now. And his own signature, his energy signature must be held by himself. He needs to find his own sovereignty. He needs to actually recognize that he is his own person and that the opinions of others do not matter. This is very much required of him. His energy signature is going through a massive transformation now, and it's changing, into a higher frequency, a higher octave. We also have expansion, educate your mind and senses. So he's really beginning to see, and also this actually reminds me of a female vulva. So he's really beginning to start to see how the feminine within himself is needing attention right now. And through this transformation, he recognizes that balance through his own union, through the union of the masculine and the feminine coming into balance, that is all important to him right now. It has to do with changing the energy signature, because we are now coming out of those toxic masculine and also the toxic feminine energies, and we are leaving those behind and moving into a greater idea of who we are as individuals and also on a collective level as well. So he's really beginning to understand that there must be a balance within, and to find that balance, there must be a balance between mind, emotions, so mind, heart, there needs to be that connection, and then the balance between the masculine and feminine. And of course, the feminine is always the leader that takes the masculine to source. He cannot get there without recognizing and owning his own divine feminine, because his own divine feminine is all that is, and that is how he manages to become connected to source. So that's where the masculines are at the moment. I hope that makes sense. It kind of like, it was interesting. Okay, we'll see you soon.